Today we are going to speak about the artifact which changed the archer meta forever. It was the most important artifact which Call of Dragons developers actually created, right? And of course, we are going to compare other archer artifacts to that one, and I will try to explain as simple as possible why this artifact is so good, right? Of course, at first we are going to check which kind of legendary artifacts archers have in general, and after that we are going to discuss all of them, right? And hopefully you guys will understand how important it is to actually get that artifact. So in total we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 archer artifacts. Couple of them are free to play friendly, such as Shadow Blades and Heart of Kamasi, right? Shadow Blades and Heart of Kamasi is generally a two style of artifacts. One is offensive, which is Shadow Blades, and second one is Heart of Kamasi, which is more defensive utility style, which is more idea about buffs than anything else, right? Shadow Blades, pure damage, pure offensive stats, and pure offensive skill, which is gettable for every single free-to-play player, and hopefully everybody should have it already, right? The next one is Guilded Crossbow, the best artifact for Maggrat and Zayda, which is really interesting and super amazing artifact, which we're gonna speak later. Then we have Iron Tusk, which is kinda exclusive artifact for the Fulgrim gameplay, right? Because of this penetrating bolt additional effect, make this artifact kinda useful for especially Fulgrim, right? Because the Fulgrim is the only hero which is dealing damage with the penetrating bolt, right? The next one is Rattle Spear, the artifact which is great not only basically for Kinnara, basically great for every single hero pair which has a defense break in them, right? It's offensive artifact, but the big mistake of this artifact is that whenever we are using skill, we are standing still. The next one is Viola's Bow, the debuffer artifact for archers, right? Because it has a control talent, and control talent means that damaged legions are sealed, cannot cast artifact skills for 10 seconds. The last one which we're gonna speak is Gold Crest, which is a pretty offensive artifact, but in terms of skill, we have one good immobilizing skill which kind of catches enemies and they cannot move for 3 seconds, right? So basically these are all of our archer artifacts, archer legendary artifacts, which we have in the game. But in my honest opinion, out of all of these artifacts, the best one is Guilded Crossbow, right? The best one is Guilded Crossbow. Of course, it helps that Guilded Crossbow is amazing artifact for Maggrat and Zayda, but nobody said that you can't use Guilded Crossbow on something else, right? And let me explain why this artifact changed everything for archer players, right? At first, we have to mention this is purely offensive artifact in terms of stats, right? But when we go to the Glittering Bolt, which is the skill of this artifact, we have to read it, and I will explain every single word one by one, right? Deals diffuse damage every second to up to 3 legions, which is already good, right? We are dealing damage to multiple targets within range, and increases your march speed by 45%. 50% is for level 1. So what this 45% means, you will save yourself from the cavalry players. There is a high chance you will save yourself from the rushing infantry whenever you're using Glittering Bolt. Trust me, this march speed increase will save your legion lot of times, right? I can count 1,000,000 times how many times this Glittering Bolt saved my Maggrat and Zayda during PvP, right? You can move while this skill is active, and this is the most important words, right? Physical damage maximum is 1.3k, a maximum amount of march speed bonus is 50%, and another for the mostly offensive stats and for the mostly merit getting stats, especially amazing for the archer hero pairs, enemy HP bypass maximum 1.5%, and on level 1 0.7%. I hope at least now everybody understands the power of HP bypass. At least after the legendary skin of the mages, where we are having HP bypass, and people now seeing actually how much merits you are getting by having enemy HP bypass, right? You are basically saying, HP, okay, you have it, but I will reduce those HP and I'm directly gonna deal damage to your legion without having too much HP on you. And of course, it's a big plus if you are attacking enemies who are having a high HP, right? And those are infantries and cavalries, right? So basically all the stats, all the additional stats on this artifact is simply amazing, right? And let's say additional effect, increase your legion's enemy HP bypass up to 11%, effect persist until end of the battle. So 11%, 11%, that's a really high number, right? And of course I'm gonna show you the beauty of this artifact and what I mean whenever I'm speaking about a movement, right? Let me show you the beauty of this artifact. Yeah, we are using Maggrat and Zayda, we are using Shadow Manticore, and let me charge the Guilded Crossbow and let's see how good it is, right? So basically, yeah, we are charged, and yeah, you can see and how fast we are moving, right? Look at this march speed. This is the perfect, like this couple of seconds of the march speed, which we actually got while we were dealing damage and moving at the same time. That's the most important aspect about this artifact, right? This is actually the best thing. While you are moving together, the artifact is dealing damage, you are having high march speed, you can catch enemies, you can move away from the enemies, and you are understanding that, yeah, that's a really big deal, right? Well, you can deal damage and move away while dealing damage, while having a way more march speed than you had before, right? So yeah, that's the main reason why I believe Guilded Crossbow is just best, right? But of course we are going to compare Guilded Crossbow to other artifacts, and it will be even easier for you guys to understand how important it is, right? So let's compare, for example, Rattle Spear, right? Another offensive artifact, the great additional effect, and let's see why I believe that Guilded Crossbow is better than Rattle Spear, right? We are fighting same style. This is the Rattle Spear, and let's see, right? Let's see. Basically, whenever we're gonna use Rattle Spear here, and we can see we are using Rattle Spear, right? If we're gonna move away, yeah, the Rattle Spear is cancelled. You are not dealing any damage. So in order for us to use Rattle Spear in a great moment and to deal damage and to use the additional effect, which is defense penetration, we have to stand still, right? So Call of Dragons is a war gameplay. You can't really stand still. You can't really stand still, right? Trust me, if you're going to stand still, you are going to be defeated by a lot of enemies, right? So that's like first one, Rattle Spear, right? That was the Rattle Spear. Of course, since we already have it, we can check Iron Tusk, right? The newest archer artifact, which of course I own it, and let me show you what happens whenever we are using Iron Tusk in terms of warplay, right? So Nico has Iron Tusk. Of course, Iron Tusk is way more offensive than Rattle Spear, but let's see what happens, right? Yeah, Iron Tusk is being used right now, and if we gotta move, we can't even move. But if we're gonna move, Iron Tusk's skill will be removed, right? Same problem as we had, same problem with the Rattle Spear, right? If you can't move, you can't be the best artifact for archers, right? You simply can't be the best artifact for archers, right? Of course, you will mention the Shadow Blades, which doesn't really have too much stuff here, only dealing damage. Heart of Kamasi it's great, but it can't be best, right? It can't be best because it's supportive, right? It's best in terms of supportive artifacts. Wireless bow, same, like too much defensive stats, but one great artifact which we have to mention is Gold Crest. And basically the usage of the Gold Crest is really high, right? You are going to catch your enemies. Of course, you also will survive, because if somebody is actually flying towards you, you will be able to throw these, what is called, like, you will immobilize them, basically, and you will move away, right? Kind of same style as Guilded Crossbow, right? Kind of same style as Guilded Crossbow, but I believe the HP bypass just moves this artifact on a different tier, and hopefully, after some tests, for example, it will be easier for you guys to understand how important this artifact is, right? And yeah, finally we're gonna speak about the best hero pair for this artifact, and that's of course Maggrat and Zayda, which have been the best archer hero pair for a while already. I played with Maggrat and Zayda without Guilded Crossbow. I was using Heart of Kamasi, sometimes I was using Shadow Blades, but trust me, after this artifact my merits got really high. My total gameplay went out of the roof, right? So if you are having Guilded Crossbow, you kinda have to get Maggrat and Zayda. Maggrat at least on 5551, Zayda with the Awakened, because it's a PvP hero, and with the PvP hero you know that every single skill is basically usable in open field, and that's already good enough in order for you to awaken this hero, right? So Maggrat and Zayda, Guilded Crossbow when you are going to have 100k merits like me, when I was fighting in this KVK, right? And yeah, my whole fighting march with all of the artifacts together looks like this. You can see I'm using Rattle Spear, Heart of Kamasi, Guilded Crossbow, and Iron Tusk, right? Whenever I'm fighting, I'm using all the artifacts at the same time, and I will show what's the problem actually, right? Rattle Spear and Iron Tusk will be stopped, while Guilded Crossbow and Heart of Kamasi will continue to be used, right? Yeah, you can see they are not even moving, and whenever I move, only Guilded Crossbow will follow me, right? And that's a really big thing, especially for open field gameplay, because every single second matters in open field, right? And if you have not noticed, the march speed bonus is really underrated feature for archers, because since you are having low range, and if you are having high march speed, you are covering that low range really fast, so you are kinda mitigating mage's high range, because you are basically faster, mages are really slow, and you are having advantage. You are basically covering your low range with your high march speed, right? And I actually used that type of gameplay. I even played with the mana stone of the march speed, and I had a huge success. Whole gameplay was basically different, because it was way easier for me to actually move around the battlefield, choose a correct position, and try to understand when to fight and how to fight. And even attacking mages was really easy, because even if they were targeting me, I was able to move away, so they were really slow in terms of following me, and my alliance members were actually helping me to deal damage, right? So let's have a little conclusion. I have played this game for 924 days. I basically saw every single archer artifact when it was coming out, and I can honestly believe then I can share my thoughts by all my own gameplay that the best artifact is Guilded Crossbow. Even if it was not for the Maggrat and Zayda, you can use this artifact basically on every single hero pair which you have in the game, right? Like Nico, Kinnara, Sindrion, Freygar, Falgrim, Sibyl, and it will be same useful as it is on Maggrat and Zayda. Of course, it helps that the Maggrat and Zayda is the best archer hero pair, and in addition to that, Guilded Crossbow is the best artifact for archer gameplay. Hopefully, after watching this video, it will be easier for you guys to like plan which artifact you are going to get in the future, because that was the reason how I'm getting such a good amount of merits. 22 million is quite nice, when half of this KVK I was still tier 4, right? If you understood more about the game, press like, subscribe, share. It always gives me more and more motivation to make more content for this game. I wish everybody an amazing day, morning and night. We are going to see each other really, really soon. Bye bye and good luck.